You're buying $40 ashwagandha from influencers. Medieval peasants, the poorest people in history, manage stress for free. The adaptogens trending right now? Medieval herbalists called them nervines and tonics 800 years ago. Same herbs, different price tag. You've been scammed. Peasants dug these herbs out of the ground and ate them raw. You're buying them freeze-dried in bottles for $1.50 per dose. Let me show you the scam. The wellness industry acts like they discovered stress relief in 2015. They didn't. Medieval herbalists were using the exact same plants 800 years before Instagram existed. They just called them by different names. What you call adaptogens today, they called nervines. What you call anxiety support supplements, they called tonics. What you're paying premium prices for, they foraged for free on their way to work. Take valerian root. You've probably never heard of it because it doesn't have a celebrity endorser, but medieval peasants used it constantly for stress and sleep. They'd walk to a stream, dig up the root, chop it fresh, and steep it in their evening ale. Cost? Zero. Time investment? 20 minutes of walking. You're paying $40 per month for freeze-dried valerian capsules that were ground up 6 months ago in a factory. Medieval peasants got it fresh from the ground the same day they used it. Medieval? Free. Modern? $40 per month. The difference isn't just price, it's potency. Fresh valerian root pulled from the soil and used within hours delivers full strength. Your capsules, they've been sitting in a warehouse, degrading, losing potency with every passing week. Or look at St. John's wort. Medieval people called it their remedy for melancholy, what we'd now call low mood or anxiety. They'd forage the yellow flowers in summer, make oil by steeping them fresh in animal fat or olive oil, and use it whenever they needed relief. You're buying St. John's wort extract for $35 per bottle from companies that source it overseas, dry it, process it, package it, and ship it to you months after harvest. Medieval peasants picked it fresh from the fields they had legal right to access. They didn't need permission. They didn't need money. They just walked outside. Comment right now. How much have you spent on stress supplements in the last year? I want to see if anyone beats the medieval peasants' $0. Drop your number below. Here's what the wellness industry won't tell you. They didn't invent anything. They took plants that poor people have been using for free for centuries, gave them exotic names, put them in minimalist packaging, got influencers to promote them, and convinced you that stress relief costs $40 per month. The global adaptogens market is projected to hit $20 billion. That's $20 billion spent on plants that grow wild near streams and in meadows. That's $20 billion transferred from your bank account to companies selling you knowledge that used to be free. Medieval peasants, people who worked from sunrise to sunset, who had no weekends, no paid time off, no health insurance, figured out how to manage stress without spending a single coin. They ate herbs raw. They foraged them fresh. They treated food and medicine as the same thing. You have running water, you have heating, you have a salary, and you're more stressed than someone who plowed fields by hand. The problem isn't that you need better supplements. The problem is that you forgot what medieval peasants knew. The solution grows in the ground and it doesn't cost anything. Same herbs, same benefits, different price tag. You've been scammed. The wellness industry repackaged medieval peasant knowledge and sold it to you at a massive markup. They took free plants, dried them, bottled them, marketed them, and convinced you that stress relief costs $40 per month. So how did the poorest people in history figure this out, while you, with all your money and technology, are popping pills? Let me show you. Medieval peasants worked from sunrise to sunset. No weekends, no vacation days, no mental health breaks. They hauled water, plowed fields, and survived on bread and vegetables. Yet they weren't anxious wrecks buying pills. You have heating, running water, and a salary. You work 8 hours with lunch breaks, and you're chronically stressed, spending hundreds per year on supplements that promise to fix you. What did medieval peasants know that you forgot?
Three things gave them an advantage you don't have anymore. First, free access. Every peasant had foraging rights on common land. Forests, riverbanks, meadows, these weren't private property. If you needed valerian for sleep, you walked to the stream and dug it up. If you needed chamomile for calm, you picked it from the field. No permission required, no money needed. You don't have that anymore. The land is owned, the herbs are patented, the knowledge is monetized. Access to stress relief now costs $40 per month minimum. Second, raw consumption. Medieval peasants ate herbs fresh from the ground. They didn't wait for someone to freeze-dry them, capsule them, and ship them across continents. They harvested in the morning and consumed by evening. Fresh valerian root used within hours of harvest delivers full potency. Your freeze-dried capsules? Ground up months ago, sitting in a bottle, degrading with every passing day. You're paying premium prices for inferior products. Third, food-medicine unity. Medieval peasants didn't separate taking supplements from eating meals. Food was herbs, food was medicine. They didn't think, I need to take my herbs today. They thought, I'm making dinner. The stress management happened automatically because their food and their medicine were the same thing. You've been taught to separate them, to buy food from grocery stores and medicine from pharmacies and supplements from wellness companies. Medieval peasants would look at your $40 ashwagandha bottle and ask why you're not just eating the plants growing outside. And they got all of this for free. No subscription boxes, no influence or discount codes, no monthly auto-ship programs. Just foraging rights, fresh consumption, and the understanding that every meal could be medicine. Now you might be thinking, okay, but peasants were lucky. At least nobles with money had it better, right? Wrong. Let me show you how even the rich got scammed. Were medieval nobles living stress-free? Hell no. They had court intrigue, arranged marriages, wars, succession battles, plague outbreaks that killed their children, constant political maneuvering where one wrong move meant execution. Nobles were stressed too, and they turned to herbs for relief, just like peasants did. But here's the difference. They paid fortunes for it. Medieval nobles had money, so they spent it on exotic imports. They bought herbs shipped from across the known world via trade routes. Rhodiola from Scandinavia, ginseng from Asia, saffron from the Mediterranean. These herbs worked, but they weren't any more effective than what grew locally. Nobles just convinced themselves that expensive imports must be superior. Rhodiola root shipped from Scandinavia cost nobles a fortune. It helped with stress and energy, but so did valerian root growing by the stream 5 miles from their castle. Nobles paid premium prices for exotic, when local worked just as well. Ginseng from Asia arrived via trade routes after months of travel, changing hands multiple times, accumulating markup at every stop. By the time it reached European nobles, it cost more than a peasant earned in a year. It helped with vitality and stress resilience. So did chamomile growing in the castle garden. Saffron from the Mediterranean became a status symbol. Nobles served it at feasts to show wealth. The saffron worked for mood and stress, but St. John's wort, growing wild in every meadow, delivered similar benefits for free. Medieval nobles, paying fortunes for imports. Medieval peasants, foraging the same benefits locally for zero. The irony is brutal. Nobles had money and education. They had access to physicians and herbalists. They could afford anything, and they still got played. They fell for the same scam you're falling for now, the belief that expensive must mean better, that exotic must mean more effective, that if it costs a fortune and comes from far away, it must be superior to what grows nearby. Meanwhile, peasants, the poorest people in society, had the smartest solution. They used what grew within walking distance, valerian by the stream, chamomile in the fields, St. John's wort in the meadows. Free access, fresh consumption, immediate use. Nobles paid fortunes to import herbs from distant lands. Peasants walked to the riverbank. Both got stress relief. One paid nothing, the other spent generational wealth. You are repeating the noble's mistake right now. You're buying ashwagandha shipped from India when valerian grows within 5 miles of your house. You're buying rhodiola extract from Scandinavia when chamomile thrives in most climates. You're paying premium prices for exotic imports when local alternatives deliver the same results. The medieval peasant was smarter than both you and the nobles. Peasants couldn't afford to overpay. They couldn't afford to wait for shipping. They couldn't afford to buy status symbols disguised as medicine, so they used what worked and what was free. Nobles could afford to be careless with their money. You can too, apparently. You're spending $40 per month on supplements sourced from the other side of the planet when equivalent herbs probably grow in your region. Medieval, local foraging, free access, fresh consumption. Modern, imported supplements, $40 per month, months-old potency. The wellness industry learned from medieval merchants. They know people will pay more for exotic. They know ashwagandha from India sounds more appealing than valerian from your local creek. They know packaging something as rare and imported justifies the markup. So they sell you ashwagandha instead of telling you about valerian. They sell you rhodiola from Scandinavia instead of telling you chamomile grows locally. They profit from your belief that expensive exotic herbs must be better than free local ones. Medieval nobles fell for this scam 800 years ago. You are falling for it now. The difference, nobles had surplus wealth to waste. You probably don't. Every $40 you spend on imported adaptogens is $40 you could save by learning what grows near you. Share this video right now. Tag someone who's wasting money on supplements. Send them the link. Every share wakes up one more person to what medieval peasants knew. Let's spread this. The poorest people in society had the smartest solution. The rich overpaid for imports. And you are repeating the noble's mistake. You have more information available than any medieval noble ever did. You have the internet, you have botanical databases, you have foraging guides, and you're still buying freeze-dried imports for $40 per month instead of learning what grows locally. Medieval peasants would look at you and laugh. They'd see someone with wealth, education, and technology still getting scammed by the same trick that fooled nobles 800 years ago. So how do you stop acting like a medieval noble and start living like a medieval peasant? Here's the playbook.
Here's what you can do that medieval peasants would recognize. Stop buying supplements. Start treating herbs as food. Learn what grows near you, how to harvest it, and how to use it raw and fresh the same day you pick it. 4 herbs, specific instructions, 0 excuses. Valerian. This is what medieval peasants used for sleep and stress. It grows wild near streams, rivers, and wet meadows across most of North America and Europe. Find it in late summer or fall when the root is most potent. Dig up the root. It's thick, fibrous, and smells strong when fresh. That smell means it's working. Chop the root into small pieces. Steep it in hot water for tea or mix it with honey if you can't handle the taste. Use it fresh the same day you harvest it. Don't dry it. Don't process it. Don't wait. Raw and immediate. Medieval peasants dug valerian roots on their way home from work and used them that evening. You can do the same. It grows within foraging distance of most cities if you know where to look. Cost? $0 for foraging. Compare that to $40 a month for freeze-dried capsules. Chamomile, the easiest herb on this list. You can grow it in a pot on your windowsill. It thrives in most climates, needs minimal care, and produces flowers constantly. Plant chamomile seeds in spring. They cost $3 for a packet that will give you years of harvests. Water occasionally. Wait 6 weeks. When the white and yellow flowers appear, pick them fresh in the morning. Toss them directly into tea, soup, or oatmeal. Eat them raw. Don't dry them first. Fresh chamomile delivers full potency. Medieval peasants didn't buy chamomile tea bags. They walked to their garden, picked flowers, and used them immediately. The flowers they picked in the morning went into their breakfast porridge. Raw, fresh, free.
You can do this on a windowsill in an apartment. No land required, no foraging skills needed. Just $3 in seeds and the willingness to eat herbs the way peasants did. Medieval, fresh flowers from the garden. Modern, $8 for tea bags from dried flowers harvested months ago. St. John's wort. This grows wild across North America and Europe. You've probably walked past it dozens of times without recognizing it. Bright yellow flowers with 5 petals, blooming in summer. Forage it in June or July when flowers are fully open. Fill a glass jar with fresh flowers. Don't pack them tight, just fill loosely. Cover completely with olive oil, seal the jar, and leave it in a sunny window for 6 weeks. The oil will turn deep red. After 6 weeks, strain out the flowers. You now have St. John's wort oil. Use it for mood support and muscle pain. Rub it into sore areas or take a small amount when you're feeling low. Medieval peasants made this every summer and used it all year. One foraging session in summer gives you a year's supply. Cost, $0 plus the price of olive oil you already own. Compare that to $35 per bottle of St. John's wort extract that was processed in a factory months ago. Lemon balm. This herb grows so aggressively it's almost a weed. Plant it once and it returns every year, spreading until you have more than you know what to do with. Get a starter plant for $4 at any garden center. Plant it in your yard or in a large pot. Water it occasionally. It will take over. Pick fresh leaves whenever you want an immediate mood lift. Crush them in your hands. They smell like lemon. Toss them in water for instant herbal water. Add them to salads. Eat them straight. Medieval peasants didn't take lemon balm. They ate it as food. Fresh leaves in morning water. Fresh leaves in midday meals. Fresh leaves whenever they needed mental clarity or calm. You can grow enough lemon balm to use daily for the rest of your life for a one-time $4 investment. Or you can keep buying supplements. Seeds cost $3. Foraging costs $0. Capsules cost $40 a month. These aren't supplements, this is food. That's the shift medieval peasants understood that you've forgotten. They didn't separate taking herbs from eating meals. Herbs were ingredients. Stress relief was a side effect of eating dinner. You've been taught to see food and medicine as separate categories, to buy groceries from one store and supplements from another, to eat meals at designated times and take pills at other designated times. Medieval peasants would find this absurd. Why are you buying freeze-dried plants in bottles when fresh plants grow in the ground? Why are you paying $40 per month when foraging costs nothing? The answer? Because you forgot, and forgetting was profitable for someone else. We forgot this knowledge because it was deliberately taken from us. The Enclosure Acts in the 1700s fenced off common land. Peasants lost their foraging rights. The forests and meadows they'd used for free for centuries became private property. Access to free herbs ended. Industrialization in the 1800s moved people from rural areas into cities. You can't forage in a city. You can't grow herbs when you live in a crowded tenement. Access to plants required money for the first time in human history. Modern pharmaceutical companies patented plant compounds. They isolated specific components, synthesized them, and sold them as drugs. They monetized knowledge that had been free for millennia. Medieval peasant wisdom didn't disappear naturally. It was systematically eliminated and replaced with products you have to buy. The wellness industry is just the latest iteration. They took plants peasants foraged for free, dried them, bottled them, marketed them as adaptogens, and sold them back to you for $40 a month. Medieval peasants couldn't afford doctors, couldn't afford pills, couldn't afford to be chronically stressed, so they did it raw. They foraged what grew nearby. They grew what they needed. They ate herbs as food, fresh and immediate, without processing or packaging or waiting. You have more money than any medieval peasant ever dreamed of. You have more stress than they ever experienced. Maybe the problem isn't that you need better supplements. Maybe you just forgot how to live like someone who couldn't afford to fail. The wellness industry sold you back what peasants knew for free. Take it back. Comment below. Which herb are you trying first? Valerian, chamomile, St. John's wort, lemon balm? Let me know. And if you're ready to reject big wellness and live like a medieval peasant, subscribe. I've got more videos coming on what they ate raw that we forgot. This is just the beginning.